What'll you have? Pabst Blue Ribbon.
What'll you have?
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
What'll you have?
Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst Blue Ribbon beer.
Smoother, smoother, smoother flavors.
It's football time. Welcome to Pabst Interview, Blue Ribbons, Red Zones. I am your host, KO Kyle Wilson, and I'm joined by my co-host, our courageous commish, Chad. Please introduce our week one guest.
Oh, sorry, I just was trying to share the wealth from the slape tape from last week. So I had to get that out of the way. Yeah, super excited to be back again for week two. Going to try to keep coming back as much as possible for this show for the now 7 other people who will listen to it with 3 of us here. Definitely had to bring him on. The first time around, he was our champion. Second time around, not so hot, but a personal friend with NFL Red Zone Scott Hansen. Nick Stumbris, the grandfather of the gang, here to join us.
Yeah, thanks. Pleasure to be on. Week 2 is here, boys, and the old man of the league is back on the mic. I'm the steady hand, the mature voice, the guy who doesn't panic on the waiver wire or, blow a first-round pick on a lottery ticket. I've already got a championship to my name, which is more than, 8 other people in the league can say. So, pleasure to be here. I mean, look around the league. Kraft Yak and Cheese, put up 81 last week. That's not a fantasy team. That's a typo. Festival has Rats. They ran their mouth all off season to put up 93 in week 1. That crown's already slipping. Teal the Love, yeah, nice win, 96 points. That's like winning a beer pong game and you don't even put one in the cup. Hedgehog snuck by, with 105. Show them TDs, didn't even sniff 90. And Angry Black Man, well, kudos to Elvon for putting up 103, but he still got smoked. So, the juggernauts of the league apparently are Kai Rimjob, and we hit the second Bauer. But they think they punched their ticket. They think they're punched their ticket after week 1, but hate to break it to you boys, it's September. September, heroes fade. December, champs endure. This league is about football, banter, and a good drink. And while the rest of you are out here making noise, I'm sipping something smooth, watching the chaos, and planning my climb back to the top. So buckle up. I'm here to win again. Drews, that trophy is on lend. It's coming back. So thanks for having me on, boys.
I feel like we had to after you were, I believe, the first person to review us and the harshest critic of episode 0 there. So we immediately said, yep, Nick has to come on first.
Yeah, feedback is a gift. I hope you look at it as that way. So we're here to continuously improve our content, and hopefully we can move on.
So, yeah, absolutely. Like you said, harshest critic, but biggest fan. He was the first one to listen. We were getting that feedback at 1:30 a.m. after he's come back from a Brewers game. He downloaded that shit the second it came across the wire. Happy to have you, Nick. Before we dive headfirst into fantasy, just kind of want to recap a little bit about the Packer game. Obviously, the majority of the people in the league, big Pack fans. I'm a Seahawks fan, but obviously it gets a little exciting in this house. The other people in the house are fans of the Packers, so we watch the games. Everybody sees the cookies that I'm printing up at work. Getting a little GB love with those cookies. So most exciting thing, obviously, out of week 1, besides getting the W, was to see the huge impact of Micah Parsons. Heard earlier this week, so after the game, he, even amidst the back troubles he was having, lobbied with LaFleur and the defensive coordinators to get more time. They wanted to kind of hold him back and ease him into it, and he was like, nope, I am here. I'm part of this team. I'm going to show you that I'm worth every penny, that I'm committed to Green Bay. So that was pretty sweet to see. From your guys' perspective, how did the game look?
I mean, especially you talk about Micah, I think easing him in is the smartest thing to do, especially we have the quick turnaround to Thursday night, week 2, which, thank you, NFL. We got 2 open we got home week 1, and then we just stay at home for Thursday. We make Washington come out to us. I love that. Yeah, I loved week one. I think after the Micah trade, there was extreme hype about the Packers. Like everyone is talking Super Bowl, and I think the Packers went out and showed that is absolutely a possibility. The defense looked incredible. We were swarming the football on every play. I think, if I remember correctly, Jameer Gibbs had 10 receptions for 30 yards, which is crazy. We were just all over him. And yeah, they couldn't get anything. You could just tell how impactful Micah can be on defense. How quickly Jared Goff had to get rid of the ball every single time that he it was boom, like as soon as he got the snap, ball was out. It was to the tight end or the running back or just something. There was no deep balls. There was nothing. So I love the defense. The offense looked smooth. Jordan Love looks healthy. He's throwing what we saw 2 years ago. We can forget everything that we saw last year. He was hurt, right? I think we're right back into the swing of things. I think Matthew Golden fits in. Tucker Kraft's going to continue to be a beast. I love this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was a complete game from start to finish. I mean, to me, the turning point of that game was when Bill Jart said, "And from Penn State," and the crowd just went absolutely crazy. And Parsons ran out of the tunnel. I was like, "Yeah, we're not losing this game." And then, we came out with a fast start. Jordan Love was efficient. I mean, he was 16, 22. I was shocked to see that he only had like 188 yards passing, but third down, he crushed it. He showed trust in his short and intermediate game. He spread the ball around. The defense was absolutely dominant. I mean, the offense, which was one of the league's strongest last year, I mean, we gave up 13 points on, seven of those was an Isaac Tesla immaculate catch, just phenomenal. Good for him. Um, KO, to echo your sentiment, I think Gibbs, the record was set for the lowest receiving yards by a receiver with 10 receptions. So, I mean, Jared Goff was checked on Goff. I mean, Parsons made a statement. It didn't show up in the stat sheet. Every time he was out there, I mean, he was putting pressure. He made everyone around him better. Lucas Van Ness looked like a beast. Rashawn Gary looked like a beast. I mean, that defensive line. Edge Cooper was all over the place. That run game that we had was horrible in the first half, but improved in the second half. Josh Jacobs got his touchdown. He picked up about 4.8 yards per carry. Chewed the clock in that second half, and the offensive line, I got to give kudos to those guys. I mean, they were just phenomenal. I think we rotated 8 guys in total, had some injuries late, but they gave everyone the time to run their routes. Jordan Love time to, look through all of his reads. It was just a phenomenal game from start to finish. And it was great because it was against the Lions. And I mean, they've been on top for 2 years and they act like they've been running the NFL for 22 years. So it was good to see them knock down a peg or two and chew off those kneecaps. So I was very excited with the win. Great job.
It's like it's always weird because you never know. Like, and from Penn State, and then everybody, like, parents grab their kids a little closer, like, and then like,
Whoa. Hey.
Only
Whoa.
if they're announcing the coach.
Too soon.
So, too, he never thought it was too soon. So, moving from there, not to just breeze over it, because I know Drews will beat me over the head about it. Seahawks shit in the bed right at the end of the game with the fumble. That's unfortunate. I'm besides Kittle and Purdy going out, everybody's slobbing for the San Francisco 49ers being this huge team, being as good as they are. It's like you skirted out a win against a team that is very new. It's very fresh. It's guys putting things together. And as everybody should remember, and Jay can remind everybody, Ginger Jesus had a slow start in Minnesota, and then he ended up having statistically one of his better years he's ever had. And again, I'm not going to sit here and be a hopeless optimist and say that the same thing's going to happen, but we've got a lot of good pieces out in Seattle, so I'm not hitting the panic button by any means. But we'll flash forward, not really that far. Hopefully, KO, if he's not too busy tonight, tomorrow, can get this one out before the game. We'll see. I'm not going to hold him to it. But we got the preview for the game tomorrow. Talking about it a little bit before we got on mic. I think one of the biggest changes for the Packers with Micah being added is going to be the mobility of the quarterback. It's a huge jump going from Jared Goff to Jaden Daniels. That team's frisky. That team's fun with Debo Samuel out there. They've got a lot of stuff going on. You can't count that team out. They're young. They're fast. They're hungry. They want to prove what the Commanders have to show, and especially coming to, like we said, the quick turnaround, having to travel. You never really know what to expect.
Funny enough, this is the matchup of the average age, the youngest team versus the oldest team in the NFL, which is not what you would think about with the Commanders. But when you really do think about it, I mean, Terry McLaurin's not young by any means for a wide receiver, even though he just got his second contract. Debo Samuel, you got Bobby Wagner, you got Austin Eckler, you got Zach Ertz, you got a lot of these guys who have been playing for a long time. So it's a veteran team led by a second year quarterback. I'm very intrigued. Like I said, I like what this defense showed last week. I'm I the run A rushing quarterback has always been the Packers' kryptonite. So I'm very curious to see what happens. I love our linebackers, which is normally where we get beat with rushing quarterbacks. So if Quay Walker can keep his head on straight and Edge Cooper can continue to be a superstar, I think we should be okay, but this will be a tougher test on the defense versus offense, our defense versus their offense side of the ball, than last week, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a quick turnaround. You can't really put a whole lot of new wrinkles into the offense. But Washington's run defense is weak. Like the Commanders struggled defending the run last year. They were 27th in EPA per rusher allowed, and I think that's exactly where we can exploit them if Josh Jacobs can get space early. Our offensive line, although dealing with injuries, I mean, I think they're still going to protect Jordan Love very well. Washington doesn't have a shutdown pass rush. I expect Jordan Love to settle in and look for mid range and deep shots again. As for our defense, I think we're likely going to lean heavier into the running game. We're still going to use, play action and Parsons edge pressure to force mismatches and coverage. And finally, I think there's going to be some upfront pressure from Micah Parsons and company, and the Packers are going to need to keep building on last week's defensive dominance. We got them off balance, Detroit off balance, and I think more of that chaos is coming. I mean, Jaden Daniels, he rushed for a rookie record 891 yards last year as a running quarterback. Um, I think with the speed of our linebackers that they showed in week one between Quay Walker and Edge Cooper, I would not be surprised to see Halfley put one of those two as a spy. It'll probably be Edge. But if we can contain him to the pocket and not let him get outside, I think we're going to be fine. But it's going to be a test. I'm glad it's at Lambeau. I'm glad it's early in the year as teams are still figuring things out. But I said before the season, if we came out of these two games 1-1, I'd be happy, and that's already money in the bank. So let's go.
Just a little flash then around the league before let KO dig into the matchups from last week. So just looking at the games ahead, the Vikings obviously last week came back in the fourth quarter. However, it was great against the Bears. So we'll see what JJ McCarthy has now. They are headed out. They have the Sunday night game against who the fuck are they playing? I'm sorry, I had it up and then I totally forgot what it was. The Falcons. So they got Falcons at home on Sunday night. So we'll see what that looks like. The Falcons team, the loss of identity, there's some talent. But that team is just, it's a lot of different moving pieces, it's a lot of different moving parts. So we'll see what happens. After what he did last week in Pittsburgh, I'm a little more nervous for this game even than I was for the San Francisco game. But the Seahawks are headed to Pittsburgh at noon on Sunday. If he looks like vintage Rodgers again, if he can do it in back-to-back weeks, I think the league is going to have to be put on notice for a lack of a better term. And then last but certainly not least, again, just focusing on the teams that we're talking about, our teams here. The Cowboys have the Giants at home. So shit pile versus shit pile. So we'll see what happens there. Dak didn't look totally horrendous in that game, but nothing impressive again out of either of those cities.
No, funny enough, CeeDee Lamb was one of the worst players in the fourth quarter in that game. So, yeah, I'm intrigued on all those teams. All right, so talking about fantasy matchups from last week, we'll recap week one real quick before we look at to week two. Funny enough, my two fellow players here on the screen with me, Chad beating Stumby 141 to 112. That's surprising, in my opinion, just from the outside looking in. Especially just looking like I don't know actually. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of star power on Stumby's team that didn't come through, but Chad's team looks too young and hungry, like the Packers.
Frisky.
Yeah, Elvon
Frisky is what I'm
Frisky.
saying
I
with
like
my team.
Frisky.
I mean, you start my rookie pick, my first pick in the draft this year, Egbuka with Tampa going for 24 points. Debo, who knew what that was going to be, 23 points, both of those in the flex. And really the one player on the team who I thought would be somebody to blow the doors off because I spent the money on him, Amon Ra, didn't even put up 9 points for me. So talking about some of the guys that weren't going to perform and did, talking about some of the guys who could have performed better, I'm hunting down 160 this week, so I'm putting Travis on notice.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about it, right? I
Hmm.
took the L. I took the L in week one against they hit the second Bauer, very cute, right? Um, you know, 112 would have been enough to beat the half the league, but of course I run on a guy whose receivers suddenly think it's the Super Bowl. Like Buka goes for 2 touchdowns, Debo scores on the ground and through the air. JSN has his breakout game. Meanwhile, I have Cooper Kupp putting up 15 yards, Tony Pollard coughing up the ball. I mean, Baker dropped 28 for me, and CD dropped 4 in the fourth quarter. Chuba, he sneaks in a score. Doesn't matter. That's not bad roster management. That's just bad luck. So, congrats to you, Chad, for your week one trophy. I mean, second Bauer, frame it. Put it on the fridge. Let your kids, congratulate you on your week one win because, when the bye weeks hit and the magic fades, you'll be looking up at vintage Stumby Reserve in the standings. And let's not forget, I already had this trophy in my basement for a year. 2 years ago, I was the champ. Last year, I may have stumbled in playoffs, but the reserve, that ages into championship teams. You can win in September, Chad, but I win when it counts.
We'll revisit that promo in December. The next matchup we had Kai Rimjob, the number one scorer on the week, like we mentioned earlier, against Elvon. Uh, Again, Elvon would have beat a couple of the other teams in the league. He actually put up a good score, even though, Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts is a questionable start. You look at, again, a lot of talent on the team. George Kittle goes on the IR now, though. Eckler, I believe, was banged up during the week. Sutton didn't really, well, actually, Sutton put up a lot considering Bo Nix. Tyreek, disappointing again. I don't know. That's an interesting one, but I mean, Travis. Let's talk about Travis's team. Josh Allen, 42 points. Bijan, Kyron Williams, Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, T.J. Hawkinson didn't do much. Tedero McMillan and Ken Walker didn't do much. Like he still got a tight end and a second flex spot that greatly underperformed. Chad, you talked about your team being frisky. Number one, the current number one, looking at a pretty high score potentially in the future.
Yeah, what's nice too is like we said, Nick touched on a lot of these other matchups from the week before. Kyle outdid Yak and Cheese. Not that he could have fucked that one up. I mean, winning by 40 points is a little hard to not have happen when you play against the guy with 80 points. However, Teal the Love almost lost. Didn't even put up a full 10 points over the 88 scored by Ian. So. What's nice looking into week two is a couple of the matchups we got. The number one and number two scorers, and Travis and myself are facing off. And then even more so, an exciting matchup, we've got Drews and Teal facing off, a repeat of the championship from last year. we'll see what happens there. But a couple good matchups this upcoming week.
Yeah, I mean, the matchup of the week, I mean, is Kyram job versus, we just hit the second Bauer or whatever you're talking about. I mean, were you even alive during 9/11? You young pup? I don't even get it. But, you guys are strutting around, like, you're the king of the league after week one, but I think this'll really prove who's a fluke, who's you know in it for the long haul. It's not just a matchup; it's an exposure match. Two frauds walk in, one fraud walks out. And trust me, by the end of Sunday, the rest of us will know who's real and who's just playing. You know, acting on our week one glory. So I'm excited to see it. Travis put together a solid team. He's silent. Chad, I mean, I think you've lucked into a lot of luck, let's call it. So we'll see what happens.
Well, for one of you to fall so that I can just leapfrog and I'll just slowly stay at the top. That's fine. I don't need to be the top scorer on the week. That's fine. I'm just gonna keep winning my matchups. That's all I need.
Are you
All
gonna
right.
make the playoffs? You're gonna make the playoffs finally, KO? Is that your
Yeah,
goal?
yeah,
Okay.
of
Yeah.
course. I made the
Yeah.
playoffs. Hold on. I made the playoffs last year.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't. I
sorry, the
didn't
first year.
notice. I didn't notice. I'm
The
sorry.
first year, because last
Not a
year,
lot.
if we all remember,
Correct.
did you not win the toilet bowl?
Yeah,
I did win the toilet bowl.
I think you had the number one. Yeah, you have Ashton. You tanked for Ashton.
Tank for
Yes.
Ashton and a Marion Hampton.
We
Yeah,
have to get a lottery in this league.
let's say that he intentionally tanked, and just not that his team was to try and tank a shit all season long.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we want to look at a preview of week two now?
Yeah,
Or I guess we
Yes.
just did most of them. I got the only ones that you didn't mention: Kraft Yak and Cheese against Stumby. Stumby, I'm going to tell you, you're not projected to win right now.
Yeah.
If you don't, I would say if you uh, after Kyle's performance last week, if you come out 0-2, it's gonna be a rough start.
Yeah. I mean, listen here. I mean, Kraft Yak and Cheese. I mean, they might have squeaked their way into week two with that watered down mac and cheese lineup, but you stepped into the ring with a vintage Stumpy reserve right now. And let me tell you, this reserve, it doesn't expire. It gets stronger with age. So you got Bo Nix at quarterback. That's cute. I got Baker Mayfield, Mr. Shake and Bake himself, ready to torch Houston like it's a backyard barbecue. You're serving up craft singles. I'm pouring top shelf reserve. And when Sunday's over, the only thing that Kraft Yak and Cheese will be serving is leftovers. I got collard greens, I got chupacabra, I got the lamb sauce. My roster is a buffet of pain, and every single one of my guys is bringing the steel chair. Meanwhile, Kraft Yak and Cheese, your team's relying on a tight end named what? Kraft? I mean, really, buddy, the only thing Kraft makes is mac and cheese, and I'm about to make that, melt it all over the mat. So get ready, cheese wheel, because by the time this week is over, the scoreboard's going to read Vintage Stumpy Reserve 1-1, Kraft Yak and Cheese 0-2, bottom of the barrel.
it is.
That's all I got to say about that.
It is funny. 2 years in a row, he has a cheese-based team name. You know what they say with cheese?
Yeah.
It's not like fine
I
wine.
love cheese.
Doesn't give
Chad, how much cheese do you eat on the regular?
more than I'm supposed to. Have you seen me? Um, I think one of the big things too is looking at just looking around the league. I think one of the big things, and it showed last year with Drew's team, was that Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stack. That is a huge risk versus reward, like we saw in week one. We saw it week after week. That stack crushed teams left and right all the way to the championship. But you have a week like you did last week. I think Jamar Chase had 4 points, Burrow had 12. Like, that's not the stack we're talking about. That's a stack, and I'll go back. It was a tank of shit. Now it's a stack of shit. If we can continue to have,
What you get,
yeah.
can't rest on your laurels.
But again,
Yeah, I mean, that's a great. I mean, it's double dip scoring. It's a high weekly ceiling. I mean, it has to correlate with the matchups you have and everything, but I mean, there's risks that go with it. I mean, one bad game sinks two spots. I mean, an injury has a domino effect. There's a lot of variance there, so kudos to Drews for riding that out. I mean, Burrow and Chase had a great year last year, but I mean, that's few and far between when that happens. And, if you want to ride it out, ride it out.
Well, we had Elvon score over 100 points last week was an anomaly in of itself, but even more so now that he's got multiple injured players on his starting lineup. We'll see if he can get in there and make the right decision, not only with injured players not on your active roster, but maybe starting one of the other two of your three quarterbacks that wildly outscored Dak last week. I mean, whatever. But let's see what other beachfront pergola he's tucked into before the season, the game start this week.
Yeah, absolutely no time when you're sitting under one of those cabanas to check your phone for fantasy. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Elvan lives a life we all wish we could. So, I mean, he's winning at life, losing at fantasy football.
And in that, I mean, really, what is it all about? Because it's about fantasy. If you're sitting here listening to this saying
It's about fantasy.
that it ain't, we're gonna do some restructuring here before the dynasty really gets rolling. All right. I don't know what else we could have said, boys. We kept it tight, we kept it rolling hard, but we went through everything we really wanted to talk about. Any last minute fucking hammer drops you want to hit? I mean, Nick, I don't know if you've got much left on the notebook after all the just tawdry things you had to say about your league mates.
The
Well,
WWE promos that you were just dropping on everyone, I love it.
yeah, I mean, I just want to, I mean, my buddy and I, Scott Hansen, we talk every Thursday. You know, he runs the Witching Hour. I run the Beer League. It's a partnership. Um, Him and I go way back. I appreciated the fact that he created a cameo for us this year. I asked him. He said, "Nick, I owe you after saved me in '07 after I almost joined a Vikings fan league." So Scott Hansen was not happy with us avoiding or not avoiding commercial free football this year. But it's big business. We understand how capitalism has to be. So I just gotta say, pay the NFL. They need money. They're hurting obviously. Pay me after I win this league this year. I'm not going to reinvest in porterhouses. I can tell you that much because I have to pay for all of my vices. But to finish it off, Kraft Yak and Cheese. You might as well just sleep in on Sunday because it's going to be a day of pain. That's all it's going to be because you're going down.
Travis, you can do it in a tower. You can do it in a dingy gas station bathroom. I'll take that Kai Rim job after I go 2-0 on your ass this week.
And Elvon, go ahead and keep Kittle in your lineup. That's fine. I'm here for it. We'll see. Like your buddy Scott Hansen said, Nick, we'll see if Elvon sets his lineup this year.
Oh, that's so disappointing. All right. Thanks, boys.
Thanks for coming on, Nick.
Yep.
Appreciate having you. And for Hap's interview, Blue Ribbons, Red Zones, I've been the commish, Chad Coffin.
And I've been KO Kyle Olson.